couple common issues facing shooters of all experience levels are either shots going low and low left if you're like me and a right-handed shooter, or shots tracking up and out of the A zone. There's a couple reasons why we get those results on target. I'm going to be talking about 3 specific ones. All right, so let's get right into it. Grip, okay? So if I start trying to chain multiple shots together and I don't have my grip dialed in, or I'm changing things with how I apply grip pressures on the gun, then of course my target is gonna indicate that, right? So what it would look like specifically is like I start rocking and rolling, and then suddenly like my left hand starts to leave the exercise, or maybe I start adding pressure with my shoulders and my right hand. Well, naturally the gun is gonna start behaving in a way that leads to those low, and especially if you're like me, a low left shots. They're gonna start tracking out of that A zone, okay? The thing that we're looking for the most is arriving with a good consistent grip built that allows me to just move my trigger finger with efficiency, allowing these muscles to be relaxed, and just lets me fire the gun without imparting any additional input. Next, let's talk about vision, okay? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever driven through the rain? If you're going like this behind your screen, like me, then you know that when I'm driving through the rain, it's incumbent on me to maintain focus at a distance on the road so that my hands know how to inform the car where to go because I'm looking at a spot, right? You don't allow yourselves to sit there and focus on the windshield wipers because, well, A, that's a really good way to get hurt, right? And you start to lose an appreciation for where the car is on the road, and the car will go all over the place, and you know, bad things tend to happen. It's the same idea and the same principle with guns. When that dot starts to behave, starts to lift and recover, we can allow ourselves to focus on it because bad things start happening with those shots. And in this case, shots tend to track up and out of the A zone, okay? It starts to look like this. My sights are originally on the target, right? I fire my first shot, I get lift, but I never get full recovery because now I'm locked into that dot, and then inevitably those shots start to track up and out of the A zone, okay? I simply have to remind myself, focus in and lock in visually and focus on that spot on the target where I want those rounds to go. The last thing I'll talk to you guys about is where your focus should be, okay? At least here in your mind, okay? I don't want you to have the conscious thought of just shoot fast, right? Because that, for me at least, tends to be like, shoot this fast. And then I arrive with a bunch of tension and I start changing what my hands are doing on the gun, and it leads to bad things. My focus just needs to be to connect with that spot on the target where I want the rounds to go and just maintain a consistent grip, okay? And then next, just keep a nice relaxed trigger finger, and you'll start to kind of surprise yourself with just how quickly you can split the gun and maintain a high level of accuracy. Along those same lines, if my focus is on keeping the gun flat or controlling the gun, then typically for me, the reward is I have a flat gun or I have that control, but sometimes it happens ahead of the shot, right? And that can manifest as input, right? So if I'm so focused on shooting fast and controlling the gun, sometimes it's possible that I push into the gun, then fire, and that can also lead to low left, and certainly 6 o'clock Charlie's, depends on what your hands are doing and where that input is coming from. All right, next, I'll make a couple demonstrations, okay? I'm going to be shooting strings of 6 rounds, okay? We'll call this the bill drill kind of demonstration here, okay? So I'm gonna start off and, well, how about this? I won't tell you what I'm doing. It'll be on you to kind of make an observation based on what I just talked about, okay? Let's see what happens here, okay? All right, here we go. So, what'd you see? Yeah, of course, you never saw the gun quite return back to the target. It kind of hung out nice and high, and then because I'm just locked in to the dot and I'm committed to those shots, naturally those impacts tracked up and out of the A zone, okay? So that's problem number 1, like we talked about. Let's demonstrate another. Again, I'm not gonna tell you on the forend. It's up to you to kind of decipher what's going on, okay? All right, what happened there? I think that was a little more obvious, less subtle in the visual issues. But yeah, you guessed it, tons of tension, right? My entire conscious energy is spent on controlling the gun, not allowing the gun to move. So naturally, I'm gonna fight the gun, and it tends to happen ahead of the shots. And naturally, I produce a group that's low and out of the A zone, okay? Next, I'll demonstrate it a third way, and let's see what happens here. You may notice that there was an uptick in the splits between each shot, right? It was definitely a lot faster. I wasn't so concerned about just simply shooting fast or fighting or controlling the gun. I just trusted that my hands were doing the job necessary to control the recoil for me ahead of time. I didn't have to change my grip between shots, and I just looked and locked in and focused on the spot on the target, which of course opens up a lot of bandwidth for you to simply move your trigger finger, and you'll surprise yourself with just how fast you can do that. In the end, what dictates when I can shoot? Yeah, it's your vision. It's what you're seeing the dot and how you're seeing it behave relative to the target. Also, your hands have a great say in just how that happens, right? If I've got a grip that supports fast shooting, great, okay? I want you to first dial in your grip, dial in your ability to see, and then you start seeing fast, okay? If you think back to those confirmation levels, those aren't hard numbers, guys, right? Confirmation 3 doesn't have to be a second. Okay, I want you to push yourself and see just how fast I can see the dot lift, return, look like a dot again before I fire another shot. Okay, and then you'll find that even at confirmation 1, when I'm trying to split the gun as aggressively as I can, that quarter second number is just a jump off point. There'll be times where you can even get into the predictive realm, right? Where you're holding on to the gun and allowing the dot, and you're seeing that streak, but you're committing to that string of fire. And you're certainly to shoot a lot more aggressively than even you thought yourself capable of, all right? But it's gonna take some work, so get to it.